applause, please. Thank you very much. God bless you. Really good. Now we are moving on to the next lecture. But I hand over the microphone to Feishino to introduce the lecturer to us. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Martin Zundowoyo, for taking us through that short exercise. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, move on straight to lecture number 2. So I have the honor to invite my Lord, Honorable Justice Monisola Abodude, the President, Ekiti State Customary Court of Appeal, will be taking us through this second lecture. So, very quickly we'll take our citation as she will be standing here in the front.
His Lordship was appointed Judge of the High Court of Ekiti State. She served in various capacities as State Counsel, Legal Advisor, Solicitor, and Housing Involvement Officer in public and private organizations, home and abroad, before this appointment. Her areas of expertise include criminal law, family law, commercial law, arbitration, and customary law. She has a robust reputation of being ethical, impartial, firm, courteous, and tactful when handling legal issues during proceedings, especially as a judge handling cases of gender-based violence. She chaired the committee of the Ekiti State Family Court Rules. She also sat as a member of the governorship election petition panel in Ebonyi State in 2011. The decision of the panel was affirmed by the Appeal Tribunal all through the Apex Court of Nigeria, that is, the Supreme Court. She has written many papers, spoken at many conferences and seminars on issues of family law and life, gender-based violence as it affects the women, girl child, and children. She is a firm proponent of using law as social engineering to positively impact the society and to make an impact for development. She is the visionary of the Women of Deborah Mission, a non-political faith-based organization set up to influence families, women, the youth, and children. Through this platform, many families in crisis have been assisted. Legal counseling have been given as appropriate to victims of gender-based issues. She holds a master's degree in law, and she is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Arbitrators of Nigeria, fellow of Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators. She was recently appointed as the pioneer president of the newly established Customary Court of Appeal, Ekiti State. She is the Chancellor of the Diocese of Ekiti West Anglican Communion. She is a wife and a mother. In her leisure, she enjoys listening to music, mentoring the youth, reading, cooking, traveling, and attending seminars for self-development. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Honorable Justice Monisola Oluwatoyin Abotunde.
It is my pleasure to be in front of an esteemed audience this afternoon. First and foremost, I give God all the glory for the gift of life. We should never take the gift of life for granted, because it all starts with God and it will end with Him. He is our creator. Wherever we find ourselves on planet Earth, wherever we are now, it was His plan. We should always acknowledge that. And with that, it's easy for me to say that I just want to stand on existing protocols. But I will deviate a little, because I'm now heading a customary court of appeal. It is not customary for a Yoruba girl to just say, I want to stand on existing protocols. You have to give honor to whom honor is due. And with that, I want to start by acknowledging in absentia the first citizen of this state, in person of His Excellency Governor Abiodun Oyebanji and his amiable wife, who is ably represented today by no other than a learned sister, Barrister Shali Atani. In equal vein, I want to warmly greet His Excellencies, the former Deputy Governors here seated. You are welcome, sirs. I also want to greet our Kabiesi, Kadepelori, Kibata Opelese, Ejeju, Awara Waju. I want to salute the former HOS. There are two former HOS here. My brother, Mr. Ajayi, and of course my sister, Mrs. Peju Babafemi. You're welcome, ma'am. I also want to greet Professor Oluwadari, the chairman of chairmen. I do not want to say much. He's somebody that is very gender sensitive, and you must have seen that in the way he spoke when he gave his keynote address. Before I salute all the other distinguished men here, I also cite the former Deputy Speaker, and I can see a lot of distinguished ladies and gentlemen here, especially our own CAN chairman, who is also quietly seated, our daddy, our pastor, Dr. Aribasoye. You are equally recognized and acknowledged. And of course, before I greet the convener of today, permit me to also recognize my own beloved husband, who is here with me physically, Engineer Olubanji Abodunde. A lot of people know me, but I'm sure a lot of people know him too. But I want to salute him publicly, because my topic today is the role of men in women development in the 21st century. Of course, to the glory of God, we have been in a journey, a marital journey that spans more than 3.5 decades. So he must have played a major role in my development. And I do not shy away from saying that any man that is here this afternoon, any man that has come to this program, you are all gender sensitive. Because if you are not gender sensitive, you cannot be patiently waiting from 11 o'clock till now. So I want to celebrate all of you. And in celebrating all of you, I now want to celebrate the convener himself. It takes a very strong, confident, a man with no self-esteem issues to organize this sort of programs. A 21st century par excellence man. And of course, I have not forgotten the guest speaker, the first person who spoke. We date back years. Dr. Awoshusi and I, we used to attend a gym together. He's a cerebral academician, and he's also a person who does not joke with his physical fitness. I was very glad when I saw that you're also part of the program, and I'm not surprised that you spoke so well about your topic. And I want to start where you ended. You posed a question: who is a man today? Who is a man today? The role of men in women development. Definitely, men play a major role in the development of women. And it is not only limited to the 21st century. It has been since the biblical days. Even God himself, by my own perception, by my own understanding, God himself is gender sensitive. I know the audience is mixed, so I will not want to blow too much grammar. I will want to speak to my paper, to pause and explain, because I can see a lot of our children here, and I want them to also take away something today. The audience is mixed, so I'm going to adopt a style of delivery that is very lucid in expression and practical in my submissions, that allows me to speak to the paper and, where appropriate, to illustrate with real life examples, if possible, my own life, so that these little ones can go away taking something from my own real story. Today is significant for our nation, but it's also a week that is significant for fathers in Christendom. On Sunday, all over the world, it is Father's Day. And so I want to pose a challenge to fathers. Whether you have daughters or whether you have sons, just go back home and be a good father to both of your children. Whether they are girls or boys does not matter. Children are gifts from God. My own first taste of development was in my family, in my home. I happened to be a first child, and my father and my parents raised me without being conscious that whether I was a girl or a boy, I was just brought up as a normal child. As far back as I know, I will follow my father to the library to pick a book. I'm telling you my own real life story. And I was born in the 60s. I'm going to clock 60 this year, to the glory of God. So I want to salute my father. He's still alive. Before he handed me over to my husband, he was doing his work. And of course, my husband did not have any other choice than to continue what he has been doing, to build on it. Maybe you will say I was highly favored. Yes, I agree. But one has to contribute. You have to play your own quota too. And that is why I am appealing to the men here. Go back home and just love your children. Whether they are women, whether they are girls or boys, does not matter. The development of any child, whether it's a girl or a boy, starts with the parents. The topic, like the first guest speaker said, is a very, very wide topic. I don't even know the scope. It's inexhaustible. Honorable Toba, Adaramola, once again, I salute you. you are indeed a 21st century man. You know, Dr. Wishisi said, who is a man today? My own definition is that any man who is balanced enough and confident enough to understand that both men and women should collaborate together in the development of a nation is the real man. Any man who gives an enabling environment for his children to thrive, whether they are men, whether they are boys, or whether they are girls, is the real man. Any nation who understands that women have a lot to contribute to the development of that nation economically, socially, financially, and in all spheres, those are the real men. They have touched on a lot of things about gender in the past. And of course, all of us here, we have heard of the Sustainable Development Goals. I won't reel them out. If you Google them, you will see them. They are 17 in number. And number 5 talks about gender equity. It talks about women development. And in my own view, once you take care of number 5, you will achieve all the 17 goals. It is not possible to make a mark in all the other 16 goals without addressing the issue of gender equity. I will quickly look at gender roles in the past. You know, when people talk of gender, people think that it is about female alone. But my own view is that the head cannot function without the neck. I always say that anytime I have opportunity to present papers like this. Have you ever seen a neckless head? Imagine a head without a neck, or imagine a neck without a head. So God has designed it that both the male and the female should collaborate to get the perfect result that He intended. You have to recognize women's contribution in both public and private settings. And we have done very well. The past governments in Ekiti State, they are building on the achievements of the other successive governments. And I am well informed that even in our House of Assembly now, we have about six legislators. Am I right? 6. So you can imagine the sort of debate that's going to be coming out of that house. Participate in discussions of women and leadership like we are doing now. Please, let's give a round of applause to our convener again. He has brought both men and women from different spheres of life, and we have to keep talking. We have to keep dialoguing so that we continue to understand each other. And we have to provide honest, accurate, and specific feedback. Another key gender difference is centered on feedback. Let us tell each other the truth. It might be bitter, but we need to be telling each other the truth. Honest, accurate, and specific feedback is critical to women learning, to the women growth and advancement. Research has shown that developmental feedback is critical in leadership development, and that men get more and different feedback than women. We have to feed the men back. The women must not shy away from speaking up. You have to speak up. I'm not saying you should be rude to your husbands. I'm not saying you should be rude to your bosses. But when your boss organizes a meeting for an evening, know it really well that you are a working mother, a nursing mother, and you are like in management, and they organize a meeting. Know it really well you are going to close at 2 p.m. You know, understand what I'm saying? They know you will not be around at 2 p.m. and they want to decide key issues that will touch on your department. You must be able to speak up, not in a rude way, not in a mannerless way. But you must be able to say, with respect, that I think you are indirectly saying that I should not be part of this meeting for this social reason, and I would love to be part of the meeting. I have to round up. Let me quickly go to my conclusion. The 21st century woman plays a completely different role because there's no need for dependence and survival. All that I'm dependent on my husband is only the man that brings food. It has gone. We all know it. Even the men now, they want a woman who can bring something to the table. They will say they do not want a liability. I've heard it from young men. They will say, I don't want a liability. So the keynote speaker and the first speaker, they are worried, especially the keynote speaker. He's saying that if we keep developing the women, who are they going to marry? Is it those who will just sit back and do nothing? My own view is that because of these opportunities to dialogue, we will collaborate in such a way that the men and women will see that they are partners and that they need to be collaborating. In conclusion, the 21st century woman plays a completely different role because there is no need for dependence and survival on a man as a woman. A woman can easily do and achieve things that were naturally perceived as male-dominated. A woman now cannot afford to rely solely on what the men bring to the table, as they can even make their own tables with men to coach, to guide and support them every step of the way. In every sector in the society, there are women doing exceptional things and breaking barriers that even men in their many years of work could not achieve. And the men in their lives, like their fathers, their brothers, their friends, their husbands and sons, have been a great influence in their development. I've used my own real life examples to let you know that that is very true. In my most persuaded view, women are at the receiving end of the Sustainable Development Goals. And they are linked together. The 17 goals are linked together. The men at the echelons of power and decision making should be committed to the policy and plan that exists across board to allow an inclusive approach to govern alongside women and to allow women jointly to provide solutions to the hydra-headed issues revolving around women development in the 21st century, so that the considerable gains can be sustained in women development. I thank you all for listening.
Thank you very much. Just keep clapping as she's going to have her seat. Thank you very much. You're going to have your seat. That's such a thoughtful one, I must say. My Lord, thank you very much. God bless you for that wonderful lecture. I want to believe that our elderly men in the house, we must have learned one or two things in the course of that lecture. And I want to say at this point that as far as I'm concerned, I have to go back home and receipt very well so that my woman and my girl will also have a place. Mother, I must say thank you very much. I've learned so much from what you've said. I think that our men too must have learned one or two things. Thank you very much. It is time to take another presentation from the National Human Rights Commission. You have just 50 minutes. Human Rights Commission, the representative. Don't forget that the form that you have been given, please, when you are done with it, make sure you return. And immediately after this, we will be taking questions and answers, and that will be handled by Mrs. Beju Babafemi. But now we are taking a presentation from the Human Rights Commission. Who is doing that for us? From the Human Rights Commission. Are they around? Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Adebayo.
Thank you very much. I am Bayo Babalola, representing the Ekiti State Coordinator of the National Human Rights Commission. I also stand in honor of the Executive Secretary of the National Human Rights Commission, Mr. Tony Ojukwu-san. I want to replicate what has already been established by the earlier speaker in order to save the already time that has been well spent or overspent, and we need to conserve this time in the favor of every one of us. So I'll just give this brief lecture. I hope that it will be projected. Unfortunately, the copy of this lecture has not been published yet because of the bureaucracy involved in the process. So just bear with me, and I hope that the convener of this program, as well as the committee, will make the soft copy available to every participant here. So once again, I stand on the already existing, or I sit, as my prof has said, I sit on the already existing protocols in order to save our time. The National Human Rights Commission is a federal government institution established by the Act of Parliament in the year 1995. The Commission has a mandate to promote and to protect human rights in Nigeria. The Commission also was broadened with more powers to protect, promote, and enforce human rights in Nigeria in the year 2010, when an amendment act was enacted by the National Assembly and assented by the President of Nigeria. So since then, the Commission has continued to embark on a broad spectrum of activities which involves expansion policies, and that was what brought the Commission to Ekiti State in the year 2013. So with that background, I would just like to give this little speech, as I want to start by congratulating the convener as well as the committee that has brought up this wonderful topic for discussion. The topic before us is the 21st century gender challenges. And here is a publication, a public sensitization lecture convened by Honorable Toba Adaramola Foundation, held on the 12th of June 2023 at Kadbi Event Center. An introduction to this from the angle of the National Human Rights Commission is that the 21st century gender challenges is a focal topic that seeks to examine salient contemporary generational issues confronting human beings in a bid to ensure gender parity, just as Prof has said earlier, and egalitarian society where human rights thrive to engender equality, equity, and justice regardless of our demographic or psychographic classification. Gender challenges cut across specific problems attributed to the male or female gender. Hence, the subject of gender challenges is not feminine specific, but generic, as the male counterparts have peculiar challenges as well. All these have been said earlier. I think we need to give an applause to Ekiti State government for that. We also need to appoint gender desk officers in all federal and state MDAs as human rights vanguards. Then finally, synergy building and host of other palliatives that needs to be created. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adebayo, PRO, NHC, here in Ekiti State. Thank you very much for that presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to skip that number 14 to come back to it later as we take the presentation of gifts. As I call on the Executive Director of Toba Adaramola Foundation, Honorable Toba. You're welcome.
Yes.
The chairman and other dignitaries, let me stand on the established protocol. When Justice Abodunde was presenting her paper, she said I'm gender sensitive. So I want to prove it. I want to invite my wife, the only one, to come and do this presentation on behalf of the foundation, so that I will not be one way.
Thank you, sir. I sincerely want to appreciate every one of us for being here, and especially I want to appreciate our guest speakers for thoroughly breaking down the topic. I know that many of us have one takeaway from here or the other, and so to appreciate them, we're going to give them a commemorative plaque to appreciate them. Okay, so I'll be calling on the first speaker. Okay, I'll be calling on Professor, Our Excellency, Professor Eleka, and I would like Reverend Dr. Arivasoye to do the presentation.
This is a commemorative award presented to His Excellency Professor Olusola Eleka, former Deputy Governor of Ekiti State.
I'd like to call also Dr. Aoshese, and I want Our Excellency Dr. Sikiru Lawal to do the presentation.
On behalf of Toba Adaramola Foundation, I present you this.
Also want to appreciate our mommy, the former head of service, Dr. Mrs. Peju Babafemi.
Foundation will present to this thing.
Also in appreciation of our mentor in the NGO work, Dr. Professor Oluwadare, we want to appreciate you. I want to call on our rector, Baptist College of Theology, to do the presentation.
Adaramola Foundation commemorative award presented to Professor Toba Oluwadare, Chairman Civil Society Coalition of Equity, as guest speaker at the second series of the lecture. Thank you, sir. Congratulations.
Our dear mommy, Honorable Justice Monisola Abodude, we want to appreciate you, mommy, for making today colorful. I'll call on the rector also to do the presentation.
On behalf of Toba Adaramola Foundation, we appreciate you. For me personally, hearing you, seeing you live, it's an encouragement to me. God will continue to bless you.
All right, permit me to bring up stage the former head of service and executive state, Mrs. Keju Babafemi, to attend to some of our questions. Just because of our time, we'll permit 3 questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Oluwayo. Your Excellency, the Governor of Ekiti State and the wife, ably represented. Your Excellency, the former Deputy Governor, Professor Olushola Eleka, the President of CAN, Dadiari Basoye, our distinguished speakers, please permit me to stand on existing protocol and to appreciate the convener of this program, Honorable Toba Adaramola. The day has been well spent, and we would like to make it interactive at this point and call for questions. So, if you have questions, can you please raise your hands? Anyone with questions in the hall, including our students? Yes, Mr. Oluwayo, how many people?
Just 3.
Oh, great.
3. 1, 2, 3.
Please come up here so that we can take the questions briskly. Oh, 4. Okay, that's perfect. So please come over, tell us your name, and you go straight to your question.
Good afternoon, everybody. Standing on existing protocols. My name is Dr. Yomi Oshatimi. I agree with Mommy that the day has been well spent. But mine is actually not a question. It's a bit of some comment and some contributions to it. We've had a lot from the lecturers, and they've been very succinct with their presentations. I want a scenario. The MC came here the other time and was saying things like, Talo Yakoje Womo. And then we all laughed about it. It's a common thing that they say at parties, but it's something that is actually more serious. If you look at it on a lighter mood too, when you look at burial programs, you see that when it is the burial of the mom, they will say, Mommy in Canada at Pinkwe's wedding, Daddy in Mommy in US during somebody's birthday. And then when it comes to the turn of the daddy, you will see it is always Daddy at Ifeoluwa Baptist Church during Ikoreaba. It's always, I'm very serious, it's what we see on a daily basis. And because of this thing, we tend to assume gender issues. We tend to ascribe it to the female gender. It's a very common thing in the female gender. And then governments and a lot of people, Atania has done a lot of work in making us know that such exists. But I'm telling you, speaking from the point of view that a doctor with interest in psychological medicine, the rate of male gender abuse is very high. Severely underreported, but very high. The trauma men face. They were citing things that men die earlier because they marry early. You marry early with responsibility that is so big that you carry that it kills you before your time. If you are not careful and don't learn to balance this thing, it's something that's very killing. I want those in the gender world to try to draw experience, to draw attention to it that this thing exists in male. May God help us all.
Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of my state commandant, Commandant John Olatunde Fayemi, I really want to appreciate the organizers of this program, Honorable Toba Adaramola. God bless you. I would say this lecture has been a unique one. Unique in the sense that I now see men too. You know, they are also agitating for gender equality. Unlike the previous lectures I've attended, it's always the women we are focusing on. I see the men are now gearing up, even asking for their right, asking for Ministry of Men's Affairs. So I wish them well. The lecture has been very, very impactful. And I want the men to speak out. In my line of duty, we find out that it's always the women that are coming out. So based on research and statistics, we see that it's only the women that we see. Probably because of the ego of men. They don't want to come out and say, my wife is beating me, or a woman assaulted me outside. So I want to encourage men, you know, when you speak out, you know, as one of the security agencies that is saddled, even with the responsibility of prosecuting when we have GBV cases. If you don't speak out, there's no way we can carry our duty. Once again, I really enjoyed this lecture, and I look forward even to coming here, maybe next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. You might not see men coming to your side. A friend of mine was saying, jokingly, that he was even looking for women to rape him. So probably that's why men are not coming up. So it's on that note, I would like to call on the Executive Director, TAF, Honorable Toba Adaramola, for the vote of thanks. Thank you very much.
Well, the job is simple. She said we have not been crying now. We have been crying now. Thank God, Honorable Justice Abodude is here. If men and women, they are fighting, I want to believe that they will listen to the women. They will say, she say, you know, you have 9 ribs and this one is having 7 ribs. But this time around, we have women who are beating their husband mercilessly, and the husband will be crying. But when they get to the open, the wife will now be crying, he's been maltreating me, and the court of law will listen. Why are you fighting with even a woman? But now, men, let's cry out. God will help us in Jesus' name. On this note, I want to appreciate all of us. And let me start with this. Deliberately, we invited students So that, you know, we say charity begins at home. They have listened to us. You see, none of them, they were just there listening to our parents. Even when if you watch the drama, you saw them, they said, our parents, maybe they saw them fighting. So we need to really look into this. I want to appreciate Christ School boys for coming. I want to appreciate Shepherd International High School. And of course, I want to appreciate the School of the Princesses, Mater Christi Catholic Girls High School. Specifically, let me appreciate the principal, Reverend Dr. Sister Anslem, PhD. I normally say she's the only principal that is having PhD in Ekiti State. I want to say thank you, sister, for coming, and thanks for staying all this while. I want to appreciate our students from the Baptist College of Theology, Ekiti. It is deliberate, because some of the things they are preaching to us too must come, this must reflect some of these things that we are seeing. You understand me? So I know it's going to be. The rector, I want to say thank you. Before coming to the table of honor there, let me appreciate Pastor Oluwashola. I want to say thank you. When I was the chairman of the local government, she was my pass. We say pass, and it's always passing. It's not failing all the time. It's the reverend now. So I want to say thank you. I can see Ms. Ogunje. I can see a lot of them. The leader of Baptist women in Ekiti State, Mrs. Fato Kunshi, is there. I want to say thank you. She was the first person to be around. I want to say thank you. Then the chairman of all the Baptist pastors in Ekiti State, she is here. So Reverend Oladele, I want to say thank you. Let me appreciate the representative of the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Women Affairs. She is my sister. Well, you are too. But let me say thank you officially. Then before coming to this side, let me say thanks to Barrister Shali Atani. Well, I want to appreciate you. We are still going to talk. Our discussion is not going to end there. So let me put it there. So help us to appreciate Her Excellency for approving your coming. I want to say thank you. In absentia, let me appreciate Barrister Rita Ile Barry. Even she went to Lagos, she's been calling. Hope the program is going on. Hope there is okay, let me do video, but I want to see the place. I said, well, if she's watching her because she's online too, I want to say thanks. Yes, the very developed for so she cannot come. So let me come over to the representative of the Commissioner of Police. I want to say thank you. To the Civil Defense, I want to say thank you. To the DSS, they are here. I want to say thank you. Tumba, I want to say thank you. Then to our guest lecturers, we can't have it better. All of us are Ekiti. Ekiti are talented. We are talented. I want to say thanks to all of you. If you see the program, you see my appreciation. We sought collaboration from people, but if it's not something that people can benefit, they will not answer us. Some of these things that you are seeing is just from friends, individuals. I want to say no organization was ready to give us any money, but I want to say, like Mocha Foam, they said we should give pillow to the officials. The pillow is on the way now, so we'll give it to you today, sir. It's not as if they give me money. Don't say Toba has come to make millions, so they say God will pay it all. Then BSCS, I want to EKTV. They handle the publicity. You must have been hearing it on radio, on TV. It's free because we are into partnership. I want to say thank you. Then to all the other ones, the Rotary International, where I want to say thank you to all of UKC and everybody. So, and I want to specifically thank the planning committee. It took us a lot of time. At times we may call meetings, some will come, some will not come. It's history. What is important is that this thing has been successful. For me to be able to, for us to be able to get to this level, we want to say thank you to everybody. Specifically, let me mention Justice Abodunde. When I wanted to approach her, somebody says, hey, you want to approach a judge, a justice, know your onions, so say you have a very good CV. But lo and behold, when I saw her, she's a mother. You just say, why? Let me be there for you. And I want to say, we know when we invite you again, you will come. And to His Excellency, when I told him, I said, Your Excellency, I just want, if hope your this thing is free, he said, yes, it's going to come. So the deputy governor, I want to say thank you, sir. I was in Lagos. Initially, we thought of inviting one of our senior vice chancellors, and he said that day, today, is his son's graduation in the US. So he said, why don't you look for another person? Immediately, here and there, it was a shock. My mind just went straight to Dr. Oshusi. I said, sir, you don't have any option to object. And he said, I will look at it. I said, it is considered done. So before he even say yes, because I'm not ready, I'm not prepared to take another no. So, and he said, at last, he said yes. To our mommy, Lady Baba Femi, I want to say thank you, ma'am. You are not supposed to be here today for what we have discussed, but God understands, ma'am, for honoring your people. I want to say glory be to God, ma'am. To the camp chairman, though he's not here as my pastor, there is nothing he can do. If I didn't want him to go, he knew that Paul stayed. That's why he ran away. So I want to say thank you to all the Christians. He's representing the Christian body. To all the Muslim bodies, too. We invited both Christian and Muslim. That's why we are trying to be very civil in an approach so that it's going to be very formal. It's not a little to the right or to the left. Even the drama you saw us presenting, you know, it was just basically on happenings in the society. So God will bless all of you for us. I want to appreciate you. Some people send money to me. I want to say thank you. God will bless you. It is our hope that we will continue to do this thing. We will send messages to everybody that will see the papers. If you still want it online, we will send it to you. That's why we want to have your data. If your data is not yet there, let us have it. I can see one of the HODs there. Please, I want to say thank you. Everybody there, this slide did not allow me to see people, but I think it's that time to say thank you. Help me to turn to your right and to the left. To the royal ambassadors and leaders of the Nigerian Baptist Convention, you have done well. I give kudos to you. Thank you very much. God will bless. Turn to your right and left and say thank you. Please, after the prayer, I want to plead with you that we have a memorable picture. The speakers, various sectors want to have pictures before you go. Hey, Josa. Okay, please, if you are still having the assessment form, if you like, write your name. If you like, don't write your name. We just want to improve on our performance. One thing that we know today is that the time we have spent too much time. It will not be so next time. God will help us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Today.
Ìmọ̀ ìṣàgbára mi àtinú